Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something that is so crucial for effective teaching, building a learning environment that's predictable and has as few distractions as possible. We're pulling this straight from Chris Perry's inclusive classroom framework, specifically predictable practice number 5. And the whole idea is built on this really profound concept. The best way to deal with distractions is to prevent them in the first place, not just react to them.
All right, let's start with just one number, 97.3. What do you think that is? Well, what if I told you that's how many hours of learning time the average high schooler loses every single year? Yeah, it sounds absolutely wild, and honestly, it is.
And look, this isn't just some guess. A big study by Kraft and Novikov in a large urban school district found that this is the reality. It's like this huge hidden tax on learning that just chips away at instructional time, day in and day out.
And this problem isn't just for high schoolers. When we zoom in and look only at interruptions, the PA announcements, people popping into the classroom, all those little things, the numbers are pretty staggering across every single grade level.
Now, you'd probably guess that high school students, with their crazy schedules, lose the most time. But get this, the data actually shows something really surprising. It's middle schoolers who face the most disruption, losing more than 75 hours of class time a year. That is almost 2 full weeks of school just gone.
So if we want to fix this, we have to be smart about it. And the first step is to really understand what we're up against. That means separating the things we can actually control from the things we just can't.
Think about it. Students come into our classrooms with their focus already kind of fragile, right? They've got a million things going on. And then the environment itself can throw in what we call situational triggers, like a sudden loud bang in the hallway that can just completely derail their attention in an instant.
So a researcher named Jay Gershler gave us a really simple but incredibly helpful way to think about this. On one side, you have manageable factors, things like classroom noise, visual clutter. On the other, unmanageable ones, like if a student is hungry or tired. And this is so key because it tells us exactly where to put our energy to get the biggest bang for our buck, on those manageable things that are right there in our control.
And here's the thing about distractions. They're almost never just a one-student problem. They don't stay contained. Instead, they create this ripple effect. And modern research shows just how contagious a distraction can be as it spreads across a room. Let's look at a perfect, and I mean perfect, example of this ripple effect with a tool that's in pretty much every classroom now, the laptop. We tend to think of it as a personal thing, right? But its effects are anything but.
This quote just illustrates it perfectly. A study found that it's not just the student multitasking on their laptop whose learning suffers. No, the students sitting behind them, the ones who could see their screen, also had lower test scores. The distraction literally radiates outward and affects everyone in its path.
But it's not just our screens. The physical environment, the actual walls of the classroom, can be a massive source of distraction. All that visual clutter on the walls can actually overwhelm a student's brain and make it harder to focus.
And there's this really fascinating study by Harris that looked at exactly this. They found that students with ADHD were way less distracted in organized classrooms that had fewer decorations. But here's the real kicker. That cleaner, more organized space also helped their peers who didn't have ADHD. A less distracting room is simply better for everyone.
Okay, so we've looked at the data, we've seen the science behind all of this. The billion-dollar question now is, what do we actually do about it? How do we build a plan to take back all of that lost instructional time?
And this is where we circle right back to Chris Perry's inclusive classroom framework. The whole argument is that the best strategy isn't about running around playing whack-a-mole with distractions. It's about intentionally designing a learning space where those fires are way less likely to even start.
The framework gives us a super clear 3-step plan. First, you take stock. What are the usual suspects? That rattling fan, the announcements that always come at the worst possible moment. Next, you explicitly teach everyone, staff and students, how to handle the distractions you can't avoid. And finally, you work on building awareness so everyone stops creating new distractions. It's all about making the classroom predictable and calm on purpose.
All right, so when you put all this research and this framework together, what's the big picture takeaway? Why does focusing on something that seems so simple, like how you set up a room, matter so much?
The bottom line is that this all leads to a really powerful change in how we think. Managing the classroom environment isn't just classroom management. It is a fundamental instructional strategy. It's how we proactively win back dozens of hours of learning time and create a space where every single student has a better shot at focusing and succeeding. So we want to leave you with this question to chew on. This isn't about a total overhaul overnight. It's about realizing that the small, simple, preventative changes you make can have a huge, lasting impact on how well your students can focus and ultimately how well they learn.